Hello and welcome everyone to another installment of the MRL Fastlane, looking at the Challenger Series Season 1 at Texas. This is race number 4 of the season, and I will tell you straight up, if you do not want to know spoilers for this race, I highly recommend to turn off this right now, come back, watch the race, and then come back here, because the beginning part and the stages is very self-explanatory. You can see, whereas let's just actually go this right now. So Xander has the pole. Is very self-explanatory. There's a lot of drivers that have the comers and goers. Are out of the 16 car pack that we have for this race, you have a lot of people that were actually able to really keep in line with each other. However, you have a lot of people that started to fade, like the 88 Tomboy, for example, was one of those that was not able to really be able to maximize his progress. You also had another one of the one of Monster that was not able to really be a real contender, much like he has been in the first 3 races of the season. But you also have some people that were from the back, of course. You have the 8 of UK. You also had the 20 of BS, the 24 of Jordan Jauja, the 47 of B-Ray. A lot of these guys were actually able to come from the back to the front in order to get everything all said and done. But yeah, right now, the beginning portions of this race, I am honestly going to skip. And what we are going to do is we're actually going to be skipping the entire first half of the race, because most of the stuff is actually pretty self-explanatory. Everyone was just kind of getting in their own rhythm and really making sure they had the best of their own situations. So what we're going to do is we are going to skip to this portion right here. So essentially, stage 3 was during pit stops. You have a lot of potential for mistakes to be made, and as you can see, I've been saying this the entire time. Pit stops are crucial here. So this is essentially Story Square having a very solid race, by the way. People signaling to get on pit road. This is essentially the top 5 as we speak. UK has already made his stop. You have first of Xander, second of Cyber, third of Bassbuck, and P4 of Story Square, with actually there's one other person right behind. I do believe it's Packers, but Packers always pits early. BS and UK have already made their stops. This right here, if you are not familiar with Texas pit lane, on a preset, the brake bias is set to 58. On a base preset. No matter what preset you choose, it's set to 58. It is so incredibly hard to get onto pit lane because of how steep the turn 3 and turn 4 is with the flat surface of pit lane. It is incredibly hard to make that transition without locking up the brakes and spinning. And as you kind of saw right there, it was the 17, yeah. So the 17 of Packers right there. So he's getting out of the way in order to really look at that. But yeah, look at that. With how steep that is, the 43 of Bassbuck and the 4 of Xander, both very, very experienced drivers making that mistake in order to locking it up, and the yellow lines right there, they get snapped and they both end up in the wall. The 43 of Bass actually, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. This was first and third, by the way. The 43 of Bass actually gets caught for speeding. Xander actually does not, but he still loses time because he spun going into the pits. Meanwhile, the 23 of Story Square is currently rocking and rolling right now. He is A-okay, but yeah, that is insane to see from everything on here. So as everything's going to cycle on through, the 20 is actually going to be the leader because he stopped pretty early on in order to get that. That track position. The 42 gets on the pit lane here, hits his marks perfectly, and you can actually see that as everyone is kind of going on through, the 4 is about to get off pit lane, but the 40, yep, right there. The 43 still is yet to leave. Yep, that 43 is not having a good time. The 23 of Story Square is going to be now the new P2 here. So here is 20, who is the leader. So excellent job from BS here. Having some success in other league on Sundays, he is showing that he is really starting to come alive here in this this run. So because of that, you have a bunch of a bunch of to-dos here. So Cyber's now on pit lane. Packers is also on pit lane. So 3 is going to be out and away first. 17 is going to be closely following. And the 8 right there of UK is going to be up in the process. So as the laps start ticking on by, there's about 20 to go. The 23 is going to be the first one to get there because he is on freshest tires. However, the 42 is going to be behind him. And the 3 is going to be right behind him, with UK being right behind him. And don't forget that Xander is driving like a madman right now. So let's kind of skip on ahead. Of course, with BS pitting early, he is the one on the freshest tires. Unfortunately, he starts falling back, and the 42 and the 3 move on forward to P1 and P2, Story Square P3. And as of right now, Xander is that little white dot right there in P4. So with that, you actually have a basically, you can tell there's 7 to go at this point. These two are really blocking. Well, of course, the 3 is. I mean, as he should, is battle for the win. The 42, currently at this point in the race, 26th in points. It's insane the amount of... he's only raced 1 race so far, but Hunty, who was a Championship 4 contender, is that low in points entering race 4 of the season. So you can actually see that right now. You have a lot of blocking going on here. So going into the next set of turns, basically everyone's just kind of following the leader right now. Story Square is starting to come into it, but you'll also see right there, the 42 at this point has already had 1 lag warning of the race. Cade has had 2. That's why he was parked at the start-finish line. But Hunty lagged forward. If you're not familiar with heat lag, NASCAR heat lag, normally it's lag backward. It's like a rubber band type of thing, where it's like backward and then forward, back to the original spot, but almost never goes forward and then back. So at this point, that gets the 3 of Cyber all out of sorts, and he has to get out of it in order to avoid wrecking. The 42 backs out of it in order to be like, you know what, I didn't mean to do that, man. You know, you take it back. But while all this is happening, the 23 comes on by. He has to check on up because the 42 is in the middle of the track. He has nowhere to go. And then suddenly the 4, who was wrecking, comes back up and says, you know what, I'm going to take that position. What was a 2-car fight is now down to a 4-car fight, making that a 5-car because all of these guys are battling. The more time you battle, the more time you lose to your competition. The 3 here in, now in P3, is now being chased down by his teammate. And the 8, that is Mopower Cat, UK. What... I lost my marbles when I was broadcasting this race. Literally, you have a lag, which kudos, like I said, to Hunty for getting out of the way, saying, you know what, I did not mean to do that. Of course, lag is never intentional, but right now, this opens up the door for these 2 drivers to get up there, and what was a 2-car race is now a 5-car race because UK caught him. I lost my mind when I saw this. But you can see that right now as the laps tick on by. P2 and P3. Cyber cannot get around Story Square. That's going to allow Xander to kind of get away a little bit right there. And UK made the move. He tried. This is one lap to go. Coming into the final lap, Xander is going to take the win. Oh my goodness. I can't believe... Oh, actually, it was my bad. That's one lap to go. This is the final lap right here. I couldn't believe it. Xander is going to get it done. This is the final lap. Hunty tries to get into P2, but he's going to get a little bit of push from Cyber. And now, that was the final lap. I cannot believe it. I lost my marbles when I saw that. So, yeah, Xander and Cyber both winning their respective stages. I know we skipped over that, but that end was the literal epitome of where did he come from? And because of that, the podium is Xander, Cyber, UK, Hunty, Story Square. So close to each other. Look at those times. Like literally, UK and Hunty, if you didn't see from the pick, were side by side right there. Packers P6, excellent job from him. BS also, despite the only mistake, I guess, he pit a little bit too early. And that's what he said after the race, at least, because he was the in-race reporter. That if he could go back and do it again, essentially it would be that. Brandon P8, Keith P9, Jordan Jauja P10. Excellent job from Keith, by the way. First top 10 of the season. And then you have Batsbuck and Tomboy. Tomboy, Batsbuck was back here because he sped and wrecked. Tomboy, he said himself just had no speed. So you have Cade, who parked it essentially to avoid the third lag warning. Monster, Loho, and Piper were the DNFs for this race. I couldn't believe it. Oh my god. So with that, Xander earns his second win of the season. And essentially, as long as he makes the required races, the minimum amount of races, he is golden. 7 out of the 10 regular season races, and he will be making the playoffs. That's why I have him in currently. But crucially, he's missing out on playoff points. Right now, UK has 11 playoff points based on his wins and stage wins. And then he's also going to get 15 for regular season championship. That's 26 right there. And so that could make or break his chance on making to the Final Four. We never know. But yeah, basically the top 4 remains unchanged. Still attaboy from Bass. His stage points really elevate him there. Cade as well got a good stage 1. BS as well, now being tied. So Xander technically is in if he makes the required races. Essentially meaning that the cut line is Monster and BS on a tie, technically. It's insane, the amount of consistency that these drivers are having. But can't forget Cyber, who had an insane race. He was so gutted with his P2. Oh, F in chat for him. To be fair, that was his race. Won, but lag took it away from him. He still rallied back for a P2, but he is hungry for that win. So, yeah, there is a lot of potential movement for these guys because we go to Kansas next time around. Kansas is one of those tracks that is draft dependent, yes, but slide jobs gone wrong can make or break a race. We will see exactly how that is going to look out because that is where we're going next. In fact, in terms of the power rankings, Cyber is the only one that really changes for the top 3. UK was already there. Cyber moves on up because of how consistent he was. He finished first and second in both stages, and then finished second in the race. Absolutely insane. Of course, Bree Riders, of course, was a contender both in the stages, but he did, in the stages, but only managed a P8. But everyone else around him also had a bad race. Hunty, it was only his second race of the season, but Jordan Jauja, I put him as a dark horse because of his stats. So let's go to Jordan right here. So he has been basically around the top 10 mark, and I think he can break through at Kansas. Kansas is a track that he is really, really good at. He's won in other leagues there before in the Cup cars. I think he can get it done. Jordan Jaja, look for him out there. Same thing with Hunty. Hunty only having 2 races. Phoenix was a little bit of a bother there, but Hunty always has shown speed. Look for him out on track on Tuesday. So with that, I think we're going to be closing on down here for the night. Here are the team points. A lot of movement. I know I didn't do team points for the Cup side of things, but that's because there wasn't really a whole lot of movement. But Challenger had a lot of... Look at that. Blazing Wheels moving up a spot. And then you have a huge attaboy to GMI, which is now being solely carried by Xander when Gio doesn't race, up 3 places. And then you have Chaos Crew finally breaking free from that bottom rung and move in order to move up to P9 in the standings. Excellent job from these guys, but I'm going to turn on over to you guys. Who do you think is going to take home the checkered flag at Kansas? I would love to hear from you guys. So, with that, we're going to close on now. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the race and who you think is going to win Kansas. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.